Hey everyone, it's Misty. So today I'm here to show you how I set up our monthly budget and how we've been able to pay off our debt. So to kind of give you an idea where we started, my husband lost his job 3 days before we met. We had been talking online and then we decided to meet in person, and Rob lost his job. And he basically stayed unemployed the first couple of years of our relationship. We've officially been together 5 years, married 5 in this coming up December. So it's been hard. And during that time, we've lived on credit, a lot of credit. And now it's kind of time to bring ourselves back out of that. So my eye-opening moment came in January when I did our taxes, and I got an idea of just how much money we really made last year and how poor we were living. It just really opened my eyes. And then in February, we spent almost $500 on eating out. And I was like, that's crazy. So I sat down and started watching all these YouTube videos and researching budgets, etc. And I found one that's working for us, and it's a zero-based budget. Now, these have been made very popular by Mr. Dave Ramsey, and we are sort of following his principles, but I've kind of taken it and made it my own, and it's what's working for us. So first things first, you're gonna need something in some way to track your budget. So what I did was I had this binder laying around the house. This is just a 1.5 inch 3-ring binder. You can pick them up at Walmart. If you're a Costco member, we were actually in Costco on Saturday and they had 4 binders for $9, which to me is an amazing price. And I will probably put those in my budget the next time we go get groceries so I can pick up some. But anything, I know people use spiral notebooks. A lot of people, just use an Excel spreadsheet, etc. I used to keep track of our finances on the computer, but I found that I need to write it and see it and actually touch it and actually for it to work for us. So I have a 3-ring binder. I went to Staples and I purchased 2 different sets of dividers. I purchased just a 5 set of index tabs. You can see those there. And then I purchased the set of the monthly tabs. So my first tab is our annual budget. And these are the things that we will budget for annually. Now we didn't start this in January. We started it in March. So going forward, when we sit down in December to do our 2015 budget, we will use this sheet more. And this is something I downloaded from A Bowl Full of Lemons, and you can find them online, but I'm actually probably gonna make my own because I haven't used it because it hasn't really been working for how I wanna set it up. So the things that we budget for annually are our home warranty. My husband takes public transportation, so we budget for his pass. Next year, we're gonna budget for our health insurance copay or deductible, and then our car insurance, our car tag, and then unfortunately in Texas, we still have to get our car inspected. So those are some things that we have to budget for every year. So starting in, like I said, December of this year, for January of next year, then we'll start including that into our monthly budgets. My next tab is income. You don't have to track your income, but I track our income every month and then have a 6-month running total. Like I said, it was kind of a surprise to me when we got to tax season and I realized just how much money we made, and being able to see it on paper and really knowing where that money went has really been a lifesaver for me. I will admit it, I am the spender of the 2 of us. I can go through money like it's water. I'm a tourist. I am very materialistic. I like to get things. I love presents. I love spending money. Rob is the exact opposite. He could sit on $20 for 2 months and it wouldn't be a thing, really. So this has really been reining me in and kind of getting him on track with me. So that's our income. So when I see that we've made so much money in a month, I can say, oh, okay, this is what we have to show for it. The next I have is a debt tracker. I downloaded these printables from Clean Mama Printables, and I haven't really utilized it to its fullest extent. The idea is you write down what your debt is and you track it as you pay it off. I did that for a couple of them. The issue I ran into is some of our debt is interest-based, meaning it earns interest every month, and that's kind of hard to track. And I just haven't kept up with it. I know what our minimum payment is for most things, and for the one that we're debt snowballing, I know how much we owe, and I go for there. I will say that this is nice to kind of look back and see, what our starting balance was and that we've paid it off. Next is our cash envelope system. We've switched to cash, except everything is paid for in cash except for gas and our bills. And the reason why I don't buy gas with cash is because the majority of the time we buy our gas at Costco, and Costco does not accept cash at the pump. So we use our debit card for that. And I just make sure that I leave that much money, what I've budgeted, on our debit card for that time. Then last is our monthly budget, and then I have it separated by month. Hopefully this is going to be cumulative for me, so I'll just go through this year, fill it up, and next year, and I'll just put next year's on top of it. So starting in March, you can see how much we owed, how many debts we had. I don't know how to make you be able to see that. I'm not a videographer or anything. I'm not a professional, and I apologize for the shadow, but the sun is going down and I have the lights on, so horrible lighting, but it is what it is. As you can see, I was a novice and I wrote everything in pen. Don't do that. As we moved into April, I got a little smarter and switched to pencil. And now we finished May, and we finished June, and we've started July. So this is how I keep it all together. It stays in this binder. It has a pocket on the front. I found this cute font, made it say budget binder, and this stays basically on my kitchen table. So I'm going to show you up close the printables I made, and I'm going to walk you through each one. These are actually available for download in my Etsy store. I'll link that below if you're interested. I sell them just as a blank printable or as a, for a couple extra dollars, I'll make them personalized for you. So this is the income tracker. I can't tell. Hopefully you can see that. My husband, Rob, and I get paid twice a month. Well, I get paid once a month. He gets paid twice. So I have enough to put up to 6 paychecks and then a total at the end. So there's January through June, then you do a 6-month total, and then July through December, and another 6-month total, and this gives you a yearly total of what you've actually brought home for that year. Okay, the next one is the the monthly budget. I can't even talk today. Are you guys even enjoying this? Probably not. So I'm going to move the camera around and get it closer. That way I can show you how I actually do this. So let me readjust the camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the monthly budget worksheet. And it has a place for your income, and then we'll have a place for our expenses, then a place to put our cash envelopes, and at the bottom there's a place for our budget totals. So I'm just gonna make up some numbers and make up some bills and stuff just to kind of give you an idea of how this works. So when you do this, you really have to start with 3 different things. You have to know how much you're bringing in every month. You have to know how much you're spending every month. and then you have to be able to make sure there's money at the end of the month. So the very first thing I did when I set this up in February for March is I make the exact same amount every single month. I am a salaried employee. I make to the penny every single month, the same exact thing. My husband, while he's a salaried employee, he also earns overtime. And so his check has never been the same twice. So, and if you work on commission or if you're an hourly employee, etc., what I would do, and this is what I did for us, is I went through, you can either go through pay stubs or go through your checking, your bank statements. I found his lowest paycheck for last year and I budget to that. It just makes things easier, and I know that he's going to make at least that amount at some point this year. And I would rather budget low on income and high on expenses than vice versa, because that means you're not going to have any money at the end of the month. Okay, so let's say Rob and I make, I don't know, let's just do like 6,000. So I'm gonna say I make 3,000 a month, and I get paid once a month. So I'm gonna budget. For Rob, let's say he makes, well, that would be 3,000 if we did 6,000. So we'll do like, let's say he makes $1,500 every paycheck. That's bare minimum. So our total is gonna be 6,000. And again, this is we're budgeting, we're projecting, we're estimating. If he gets some overtime, then maybe it'll be $1,550 that week. If he works, 50 hours of overtime, maybe it'll be a nice big check. But we always estimate and budget to the lowest amount. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, we are somewhat following Dave Ramsey's principles. If you've read anything about the Total Money Makeover, etc., I believe it's 6 baby steps. The very first thing we did was put money in an emergency fund. And it took us a couple of paychecks, but we have $1,000 in the bank in savings that we don't touch unless it's an emergency. If your car happens to break down, or you have to buy a new tire, or you have an unexpected medical emergency, those kinds of things. Not there's a new shirt, or there's some really cute pattern paper stamps, if you're me, that came out, etc. So that's the very first thing we did. If you are starting brand new and you don't have any money in your savings account, then I'm going to show you how you can work towards budgeting for savings. So we'll do that very last. Okay, the next line item is home. So that would be our mortgage. And there's 2 spots on this because in some states, I know that either your mortgage insurance and your property taxes, etc., is included. Some states it's not included in your escrow, etc. So that can always be changed. So I'm going to put mortgage for us. And I'm going to say we pay, let's say we pay $1,300 a month for our mortgage. Okay, the next is in yellow and it's hard to see. That's utilities. So we know we pay the electric bill. We have a gas bill. We pay the city for gas and, not for, good grief, the city for trash and water. And then we pay, I'll just put Verizon because we really do play Verizon. So the same thing that I did for my income is the same thing I'm going to do, move this a little bit. The same thing I'm going to do for my utility bills. I'm going to go back to last year, and for my electric bill, I'm going to go back to July and August. We live in Texas. July and August are our hottest months, And our highest electricity bill last year was right at $300. Again, you always want to budget lower on income, higher on expenses. So I'm going to put that $300 is for that. And then our gas bill, we have gas heat and a gas range, and the highest that's ever been has been $50. Our trash and water, the highest it was last year was right around $100. Now that we're in this drought, I mean, we were in a severe drought, I have a feeling it's gonna be more than that every month. So I'm gonna go ahead and budget $125 for that. And then we budget like right around $300 for Verizon, because we don't have a home phone, but we've bundled our cell phones, our internet, and our cable. Now, Rob and I have paid off $10,000 since the 1st of March. And just as a disclaimer, we haven't cut anything out of our lives. I was reading an article today about a couple that saved, paid off some astronomical amount of debt in a short amount of time. And they basically gave up everything. More power to you. If you are the type of person who can live without 21st century luxuries, etc., then more power to you. Cut everything off. We're not like that. I use internet a lot. I have, I have my ornament business, and then I work from home a lot. Rob is the same way, and plus he works a really stressful job with long hours, and if he wants to come home and watch a hockey game, or a baseball game, or if he wants to watch DIY or something like that, then by all means I want him to be able to do that. So this is going to be personal preference. If you want to, okay, moving right along, we have one car. So our payment is like $430 a month, and our insurance is about $115. Gas, this is really going to depend on how much you drive. I drive 20-ish miles one way to work every day, so that's about 40 miles a day. I can get a half a tank of gas a week if we don't go anywhere special. With gas as expensive as it has been, I can fill up for about $55 to $65 depending on just how much gas is. I always budget $100 for every pay period, and like I said, we say we have 2 pay periods, so I basically budget $200 a month. Again, it's going to depend on your driving habits. It's going to depend on how much you go, where you go. If you have kids and you're driving them 152 different places, you may have to increase your gas budget. The next area is debt. Now, this is basically your creditors. So let's say you have a Visa and a MasterCard, student loans. If you are a college student, you probably do. Then you have a couple of store cards. So let's say you have a JCPenney's card, a Kohl's card, Target card, a Home Depot if you're like us. And then what's another store? Maybe a let's say like TJ Maxx. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up at this point. The way the debt snowball works is you work on your smallest bill and you pay the minimum on everything else. So let's say my balance at TJ Maxx is $150. So I know that I want to pay that off, and I'm going to pay the minimum on everything else. So let's see, let's say Visa is like $300 a month. Our MasterCard's like $125, student loans is $140, which is a true statement. Your first store card is like, I don't know, $260. Your second store card's like $75. Third store card, I don't know, $50. yeah, we'll say 50. Your next door card is, you know, 65, and then you have TJ Maxx, and you're gonna leave that blank because that's the one you're snowballing. Okay? The next I have is allowance. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I like to spend money. We still like to be able to go and do. Rob's a bowler, so he bowls in a league from September until May. So that's $20 a week, depending on how many weeks in a month. That, you know, he gets $80 to $100 for that. So for whatever he gets for bowling, I also get for me. And I can use it on anything I want. If I want a new purse, if I, a lot of times it goes toward crafting supplies, I'm gonna be honest. You know, if I wanted to buy a movie, those kinds of things. So that way we would get an allowance. So let's say it's a 4-week month, and I'm gonna get $80, and actually we get $40 on top of that, because I also budget as $10 a week for eating out, or Rob likes to get things on the vending machine at work. So we'll do, what is that, 120 for our allowance. I forgot to mention there are 3 columns. The first column is what we're budgeting. The second column is what we actually spent, and the third column, if you want to keep track of it, is the difference. The next is our cash envelopes. So we actually have, I want to say we have 6 or 7. So we have groceries, which you can't see on this purple, eating out, personal care. Let me do them all and then I'll go back. We do household, we do Christmas, we do Dart, which is his pass, we do a home warranty. Is that everything? Groceries, oh, clothing, duh. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 envelopes. So the first one is groceries. Now groceries is anything I buy at the grocery store. So everything from food and personal hygiene products, cleaning products goes under grocery. Our normal grocery budget is $50 a week. So I'm gonna say 200. And the reason why I do that is because, and this is very fluid. This is one of those that I don't say, oh, we can only spend $50 a week for the rest of our lives. What happens is Rob and I sit down about a week before I do our budget, and I do our budget at the end of the preceding month, and we talk about whatever we need to buy for that month. So like this month we needed like Clorox wipes, we needed toilet bowl cleaner, we needed a lot of big items, so I bumped my budget up to $150. We buy in bulk at Costco, so we only have to buy things about every 4 to 6 months, but when we do, it's a little bit, it's a bigger chunk. It ends up being cheaper per use, but it's a bigger chunk out. So like in September, we're gonna have to buy meat. I buy meat 2 to 3 times a year. We go to Sam's, we do a big shopping trip. So my grocery budget for the month of September will probably be $600, with $400 of that going to meat and $200 of it going to other things. So that's very, very fluid. Eating out, we budget $35 for 2 people per week. Again, a lot of people choose to give up eating out completely. Y'all, I like to cook, but I cannot cook 7 days a week and eat my own cooking. I just can't do it. I need at least one day where someone else does the cooking. So that ends up being $140 a month. Personal care. Now, personal care are things I can't get at the grocery store. So just recently I bought a bottle of perfume, or our haircuts. If I want to budget money for a special shampoo, or if I need makeup, those kinds of things. So this last month I spent, I budgeted $50 for perfume. Household, those are the items that we want to buy for the house. Like this past weekend, we budgeted money to get bedding, and that was like we spent $130, and I like budgeted $150. So that's, in some months we have a lot of money, some months we don't put anything, and that's the beauty of the system. If you are a parent and you have kids, you probably want to keep a running clothing budget and make it into a sinking fund, which is a whole other topic for a whole other day, but we'll probably get to it in a little bit. So Christmas, I've started budgeting $25 a pay period for Christmas, which will give us about $300, I think is what I added it up to. I'm actually going to bump that up because we've recently inherited 2 new nephews and a niece. I'm excited about that, and they're teenagers, so they're gonna want probably want something nice for Christmas. But you shouldn't put Christmas on a credit card. Do your best not to finance Christmas, seriously. Start in January, decide on a budget, and just start putting money into an envelope. And again, this is a sinking fund, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Next is DART. We put $75 a month toward Rob's DART Pass. Excuse me, it's $600 annually, so I just broke it up. And then we have our home warranty, which we pay $200 a month, again into a sinking fund. And then the last one is clothing. And again, we don't budget for clothing every month because we don't buy new clothes every month. But if you're a parent, like school's gonna start in the next couple of months, you know, and you're gonna wanna buy new back to school clothes, I would just start keeping a sinking fund for that and go about your day. So we're gonna put 0 for clothing. So at the end of it, I'm gonna add up our income, which we know we've already said is $6,000. Now I'm gonna add up our expenses. So $1,300 for okay, so our expenses total $49.15. And I'm gonna subtract $49.15 from 600, and that's $1,085. Okay, so this is where a zero-based budget comes into play. We've said where all of our money is gonna go. So we've said we're gonna pay all of these bills, and this is the extra money we have. If you do not have an emergency fund and you need to put money in savings, $1,000 of this would go into your emergency fund, and that makes your payment to TJ Maxx, the one you're snowballing, $85. Okay? If, let's say you already have your $1,000 and you don't need to budget for savings, your $1,085 goes directly to TJ Maxx. Once you pay off TJ Maxx, you go to your next smallest debt, etc., etc. So let's say my $1,085 gives me, I owe TJ Maxx $1,000. So I'm gonna send TJ Maxx $1,000 and I have $85 left, okay? This is where you can decide to either put it towards your next debt, or let's say it's July and school starts again next month and you wanna, my camera stopped, gotta love that. Okay, so you've paid $1,000 toward TJ Maxx and you have this $85 left over. What I do, I normally put it toward the next bill and I start that snowball with that. The idea of a snowball is you start small, and the more you pay, the more it rolls and the bigger it gets, and then you've paid it off. To date, we have paid off $10,000 in debt. We started March 1st, and this is how I did it. This was never, oh, I've got spending money, let's go have a party. This is, okay, I have $1,085, what's next? We've paid off 1, 4 credit cards, plus a couple of hospital bills, plus taxes, plus our and we have our $1,000 emergency fund. So a zero-based budget means at the end of the month you have zero money in your checking account. You've spent it all. It hasn't been, it's a free-for-all. You've made your money work for you. Now, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, so let's just put that out there. I'm just a regular woman that decided to take control of her finances, and this is what is working for me. Literally, we've paid off $10,000 in debt from March until now by doing this, by making our money work for us. We put our money in our cash envelopes. We got paid, just to tell you how this works, I sit down the week before we get paid and I project our budget. Again, it's a projection. A lot of people do it for the entire year. I can't handle that. I do a month at a time. We talk about what we need to buy. So I set my grocery budget, I set our eating out budget, etc. And I always make sure that my expenses are either at or below my total income. So I got paid on Friday and Rob got paid on Saturday. By Saturday, the only money we had left in our account was the money I'd budgeted for gas. And that's it. We have $100 in our checking account to get us until July 15th, and that's just money for gas, and that's it. So and we use cash, and so once the cash is gone, the cash is gone. And that has honestly been the thing that has saved me. Because before, if I saw $15 or $20 in my debit card account and I knew I didn't need to spend it on anything, it just got spent. And now that's just not possible. So once I've done my monthly budget, I transfer to my cash envelope system worksheet. Now this is how my brain works. I have to see it divided up into the first paycheck of the month and then the middle of the month. So we have 2 pay periods a month. So I'm gonna go back to my budget and I'm gonna pull the numbers from this and put them on here. So my first category was groceries. I'm sorry you can't see this. I should have grabbed my white pen. And I budgeted $200 a month, so that's $100 a pay period. So I'm gonna write 100 on each side. Our next one is eating out. That's $70 per pay period. Our next one is personal care. I'm only gonna do that $50 at the beginning of the month because I'm just gonna order a bottle of perfume. Our household, $150. I'm gonna do that at the beginning of the month just because we bought our bedding from the first check. Christmas, I do $50 a month. I said put 25, but it's actually 50. So we'll do 25 per pay period, or if you only do 25, you could do 15 this pay period and 10 this pay period. Then our next one was Dart, 75, home warranty, that's 100 a pay period. And then Rob and then me. So 120, we get 100 at the beginning of the month and 20 at the end. So I'm gonna add all those up. It comes to $760. So what I do is I go to the bank. Well, what I do is I take, let me turn it over this one. So the way I figure out how much money I'm gonna need to get from the bank. So I do groceries is 100, eating out is 70, personal care is 50, household is 150, Christmas 15, Dart, 75. Home warranty is 100. Rob, 100. Me, 100. Okay. So I'm gonna say groceries, I'm gonna get 250s. For eating out, I'm gonna get 20, 10s, 5s. Because I want enough for 35 each week. For personal care, I'm just gonna get a 50. I'm gonna do 100 and a 50 for household, 10 and a 5 for Christmas, a 50, a 20, and a 5 for Dart, 100, and then 20s for Rob, and me. So then I'm gonna decide I need 100s, 50s, 20s, 10, 5, and if you need ones, you would add ones. And then I'm gonna go, okay, 100s, I need 1, 2, 2. So I need 2 100s. 50s, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20s, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 10s, I need 1, 2, 3. And 5s, I need 1, 2, 3. So when I fill out my deposit slip, I fill out a sticky note and I write this information on the sticky note. I put it on my withdrawal slip and I go through the drive-through line at the bank. I send that in and they send me out the money. When I get home, I put it in my cash envelope. Let me grab that. Let's grab it. I purchased this cash envelope off of Etsy. You don't have to have something this fancy. I just wanted something that was a little bit more durable. So it functions just like a regular wallet, but I have a place for groceries, a place for eating out, personal care, household, clothing, and then I have a place for receipts. Now, we talked about and the money goes in here, and this wallet goes with us when we're out and about. And that's it. And then we talked about sinking funds. Christmas is a sinking fund. Dart Pass is a sinking fund. Home warranty is a sinking fund. A sinking fund is an envelope you create that you put money into every pay period or one pay period a month, however you figure it out. And then so you're basically saving that cash to pay for whatever you need. So like I said, we do Dart Pass, home warranty, we're doing Christmas. Next year we're gonna do our car tag, our car inspection, our car insurance. Some other ideas, like for parents, you may want to do school tuition, you may want to do school supplies, clothing, you know, fees to pay sports, those kinds of things. And you sit down in December when you're planning your January budget, you know, your 2015 budget, and you decide all those things that you want, a vacation, all those things you want to pay for that year, and you divide it up between how many pay periods between now and then, and that's how much money you put in that sinking fund, and that money goes into a safe in your house, or you can, you know, put it in a safe deposit box or something, but it really needs to be cash. It's something you don't want to spend. So anyway, guys, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just message me if you have any questions. I don't mind answering whatsoever. Again, I have these available in my Etsy shop for $5. You can get a download. You can make your own, whatever's going to work for you. But the main principles are, you've got to have money in savings. You need an emergency fund. have a garage sale, sell things on Craigslist, whatever you need to do to get to $1,000, and that's it. No more goes into savings. Now, if something happens, like we had an incident a couple of months ago when we first started this, and I had an unexpected doctor's visit. So I had to take money out of the emergency fund to go to the doctor, but the next time we got paid this extra money at the end of the month, some of that went into savings to bump it back up to 1,000. Once you get your 1,000, you start with your smallest debt. Now, we did that a little bit differently too. If you finance something that's time sensitive, so if you fell into the trap of, oh, 18 months no interest, or 24 months no interest, 12 months no interest, 6 months no interest, you've got to pay that first. I don't care if it's, you have something that's $500 and that's $1,500. You have to pay that first, because if not, you're gonna garner all that interest, and you're gonna end up paying off more in the long run. So do your best. That's what we did. I mentioned we finance furniture. All of our furniture financing, again, not a smart move, I don't recommend it, was like 12 months no financing, 18 months or no interest, you know, whatever. Well, those deadlines are fast. Those deadlines are coming up really quickly. So we've had to really focus on that debt first. So you can do it. You may not have the same numbers as us. You may not be able to pay off as much as us. The main thing is that you do a budget and you start paying money, paying stuff off. If you are debt free, so step one is getting your monthly, emergency fund. Step two is paying off your debt, excluding your mortgage. Dave Ramsey doesn't include that in this step. Step three is to get a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So that's money you live on in case something happens. You know, someone gets sick, or, you know, God forbid they get sick or lose their job or something like that. You have 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund where you can survive on one income or no incomes. And then it's like saving for college. We're not even there yet, so I haven't started looking at it yet. So, yeah. We are working on baby step 2. Like I said, we've paid off right around $10,000. It's helped that Rob has worked some overtime, so we do have that. But even if he hadn't, even if he didn't work a minute of overtime, we still budget to where we can put some money, pay some stuff off. And let me tell you that you pay off that first debt, and the adrenaline rush you get from that cannot be served. I mean, it's just amazing. And then you pay off your next debt, and that's why he calls it a snowball, because it's like now we feel like he calls it like gazelle intensity. I don't know where he comes up with this terminology, but that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, we've paid off this, and now to the next one, and now I get it. Once you get that first debt paid off, it's just an amazing feeling. So you can do this. If I can do this, anybody can do this. If you have questions, just let me know, send me a message, and I'll be glad to help you as much as I can. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for somebody. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.